After over a year of waiting, fans are so close to getting the highly anticipated second installment of the cultural phenomenon that is Stranger Things. What's up, guys? I'm Chris Killian with Comicbook.com, and we're talking about the Netflix series that served as a love letter to all things 80s. It was a massive hit that took everyone by surprise, and anyone who grew up reading Stephen King and watching films by Steven Spielberg or John Carpenter felt right at home with the investigative quartet of kids. So to help tide you over until Stranger Things 2 arrives, I'm going to recount the many 80s films that inspired the Duffer Brothers and list off the 10 best movies all Stranger Things fans should watch. Starting off our list is Sam Raimi's horror classic, The Evil Dead. Out of everything on my list, the Duffer Brothers take very little, if any, elements from The Evil Dead, but there's still a very clear fondness for the horror in this movie, especially since the poster is hanging in Jonathan's room while the monster is creeping behind the wall. For number 9, I've got David Cronenberg's Scanners. The 1981 sci-fi horror movie features a top-secret company that attempts to locate people who have telekinesis and telepathy in order to use them for their own evil corporate deeds. Sound familiar? While 11 doesn't get quite as gory as Scanners does, no exploding heads here, when she uses her mind to blow up people's brains, it's still not a pretty sight. Number 8 is John Carpenter's 1988 B-movie classic, They Live. While the awesome Stranger Things intro music should probably remind you of every amazing synth score from every John Carpenter movie ever, I went with They Live mostly thanks to the giant government conspiracy angle. Plus, the alleyway fight between Jonathan and Steve is clearly inspired by Roddy Piper and Keith David's throwdown in They Live. If you need another Carpenter movie example, you can't go wrong with The Thing, which Mike just so happens to have a poster of in his basement. Number 7 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Call it a hunch, but I bet Freddy Krueger would probably find the Upside Down quite cozy. Like Freddy, the Stranger Things monster seems to be far more powerful in its own world. And also, taking a tip from A Nightmare on Elm Street, whenever Eleven ventures to the Upside Down, she needs a dependable pal to pull her out when things get too hairy. And number 6 is Firestarter. If there's one lesson that the Duffer Brothers clearly learned from the 80s, it's beware of the destructive powers of angry telekinetics, and they don't get much more destructive than young Drew Barrymore did in the cult Stephen King adaptation. While we could have gone with Carrie, the similarities between Eleven and Charlie seem more obvious. They're close to the same age, they're both scientifically experimented on, and both movies feature some nosebleeds when telekinetic powers are about to do some major damage. Number 5. Stand By Me. The Duffer Brothers clearly have such an affinity for Stephen King's coming-of-age novella The Body and its adaptation Stand By Me that they actually had the young actors all audition using lines from it. While there's no supernatural elements at play here, the plot of Rob Reiner's Stand By Me is centered around 4 young friends who go searching for their missing friend, the very thing that Stranger Things does such a great job replicating. In the 4th spot is Alien. Okay, so Alien technically isn't an 80s movie, but the sequels are, and there's no denying the many traits that the faceless creature shares with the xenomorph from Ridley Scott's sci-fi horror classic. First, there's that sticky residue that the creature uses to trap its victims. There's lots of goo in the Upside Down. Also, the creature pretty much uses humans as incubators, impregnating Will with a slug-like creature in similar fashion to Alien's facehuggers. Number 3, E.T. Oh man, it would be quicker if I recounted everything in Steven Spielberg's 1982 classic that Stranger Things didn't borrow. Where do I even begin? Kids on bicycles, Mike hiding Elle from his mom the way Elliot hid E.T., government agents in hazmat suits, the blonde wig that Eleven wears to disguise herself. These are just the tip of the iceberg, and if Stranger Things featured an alien instead of a monster, this might as well have been considered an E.T. reboot. Coming in at number 2, The Goonies, another story that was crafted by, surprise, Steven Spielberg. The Goonies are the benchmark against which all other similar films are measured, so if you love movies about funny kids with imagination, then you probably don't need me to introduce you to The Goonies. While the situation in Stranger Things is a little more dire, the group looking for their missing friend instead of a buried treasure, the fun, adventurous tone is still very much intact. For example, even though he doesn't drop a truffle shuffle, Dustin Henderson is every bit as adorable as Chunk was in The Goonies. And finally, the film you absolutely have to watch if you're a Stranger Things fan, Stephen King's It. Though the Duffer Brothers clearly weren't inspired by the recent reboot since it came out after Stranger Things and all, they were probably inspired by the novel the movie is based upon, and you can't get more coming-of-age kids versus evil entity than It. Bonus, Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike on Stranger Things, even shows up as Richie, the scene-stealing member of the Losers Club, so now you kinda have to watch it. I hope this helps you keep your 80s nostalgia in check until Stranger Things 2 gets here. Let me know in the comments what your favorite movie is on this list, and let me know what you think I left off. Go check out some more of our videos, and most importantly, thanks for watching.